The day I married Serena Vance, the love of her life jumped to his death. On our wedding night, my wife cradled that man's cold body, her voice hoarse from screaming. She hissed at me. If you hadn't pushed him so hard, why would he be dead? Later, on every one of our anniversaries, she would wear a black mourning dress to visit his grave. She drove my parents to their graves with grief, aborted our unborn child, and locked me in the basement, tormenting me daily. She would say, "Julian is dead. How can you smile so happily? Your remaining life must be spent in repentance." Then, on a stormy night, she pushed me from the very spot where her beloved had jumped. My bones shattered and I was gone. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in college. Her white moonlight, the love that got away, wasn't dead. And I hadn't married her. There was still time. This time, I would help her and her beloved fulfill their destiny. I'd lock them together forever, never to be separated. I stared into the dance studio. Serena Vance moved with the grace of a white swan. It wasn't until the practice ended that I realized I had been reborn. Looking at the tray of smoothies in my hand, I couldn't help but laugh at myself. In my past life, I had been such a doormat that I lost everything. Next came the infamous scene. In my previous life, my roommate Julian Thorne, noticing I wasn't close by, proactively offered his own water bottle to Serena. She took a sip without hesitation, smiling like a flower in bloom. Serena and I were childhood friends. I knew she was a germaphobe, just like her mother. We used to study in the library, and once, when I accidentally drank from her water, her long lashes trembled and her brow furrowed, as if she were facing a terrible dilemma. Later, I found the bottle she had thrown in the trash. It turned out Serena's germophobia only applied to me. She had no such qualms with Julian. In my past life, witnessing that scene filled me with rage. I rushed over and punched Julian, calling him a shameless manipulator. Julian didn't fight back. He just looked aggrieved, more fragile than a delicate flower. Serena immediately slapped me, called me narrow-minded, and forced me to apologize. I lost my mind and tackled Julian. In her panic, Serena grabbed a balance bar and mercilessly smashed it over my head. She glared at me with disgust, supported Julian, and walked away decisively. I sat on the floor, face covered in blood, a terrifying sight. If a kind classmate hadn't taken me to the hospital, I would have had permanent damage. Later, Serena found me, apologized, took my arm, and explained. She said Julian was my roommate and had psychological issues. She couldn't refuse his kindness for fear of triggering him. Everything she did was for me, to maintain good relations with the people around me. I cared too much about Serena back than to notice the light in her eyes when she mentioned Julian's name. So, I chose to forgive. My heart was entirely devoted to her. As long as she was happy, I was willing to give everything. I didn't even think about why Julian always tagged along on our dates, or why he always got a souvenir when Serena traveled. I was naive then. I never considered the deeper issues. Until this dance practice in my past life, I hadn't realized Serena had long since fallen for Julian. After all, she had promised early on that she would marry no one but me. Serena's family was poor. She was the daughter of our housekeeper. A gambling father, a long-suffering mother, a sick brother, and a broken self. She was well-behaved and likable. My mother sympathized with the housekeeper's plight and, feeling I was lonely, kept Serena around as a companion. So we grew up together. Young Serena was sensible, while I was mischievous and always in trouble. She took the blame for me every time. Once a business rival kidnapped us. I was terrified, but 9-year-old Serena broke her arm, escaping the ropes to drag me to safety. From then on, my parents treated her like a daughter, and I treated her as my closest family. Whatever I had, my parents prepared a duplicate for her. We were together from elementary school through college. Everyone thought we were a match made in heaven. I thought so too, but I don't know when Serena changed, probably when we started university. Status anxiety set in. Serena, who never cared about material things, cried for 2 days because her roommates mocked her canvas bag. Heartbroken, I immediately bought her a $10,000 platinum bag. From then on, everything she owned was luxury. She transformed into a wealthy heiress, and with her beauty and status in a dance club, she became the campus goddess. To protect her pride, I always transferred money to her secretly. I became her most loyal lapdog. I thought she would marry me, so spending money on my future wife seemed fine. I never dreamed that not only had she become materialistic, but her heart had wandered. She was secretly involved with my manipulative roommate. In my past life, the second year after graduation, I proposed. She disappeared for a night, then came back crying and agreed. I thought they were tears of joy. On our wedding day, I received news that Julian had committed suicide due to severe depression. In front of everyone, Serena in her wedding dress rushed out, held his corpse, and screamed that I had driven him to it. I felt the intense hatred in her eyes then, but I stayed silent. Later came the black dresses, the abortion, the torment, and my murder. Back in the present, I watched the scene in the dance studio. Julian, looking shy, handed the water bottle. Serena drank without hesitation. They locked eyes, deep affection evident. It was sickeningly perfect. The memories of my past life ignited a monstrous rage in my heart. This time, I was going to crush the vicious Serena Vance. Serena finished drinking, wiped Julian's sweat, and said gently, "Thanks. You're sweating so much. Have some too." Julian lowered his head, hesitated, then took a sip. The crowd cheered. Julian blushed, a grown man acting more timid than a girl. Serena waved her hand, laughing. "Don't tease him. Julian's shy." Julian looked flustered, turned his head, and met my gaze. His face paled. Only then did everyone notice I had been standing at the door for a long time. Their expressions turned to scorn. They knew me as Serena's lapdog, the guy who would tolerate anything. Julian shrank back, eyes reddening. "Lucas, I saw Serena working hard, so I just wanted to care for her. Don't misunderstand." "No need to explain." Serena frowned impatiently. "Lucas, what are you standing there for? We just finished practice. Hand out the drinks." She ordered me around like a servant, as if I were her dog, but made sense. Since starting college, she enjoyed the benefits I provided while flirting with Julian, and I had been a fool thinking she was helping me build relationships. Because I cared about her pride, everyone thought she was the heiress of a sterling group with endless money, while I was just an ordinary guy, her follower. "Are you deaf?" Serena saw my silence and rushed over to grab the drinks, sneering. "So slow, just buying a few things. People might think you're crippled." Looking at that arrogant face, remembering my death, I tossed the entire tray of smoothies directly into the trash can. The crowd stared, disbelief on their faces. Serena's face twisted in shock, then rage. She raised her hand to slap me. I caught her wrist and threw her to the ground. "Lucas Sterling, are you crazy? I see through you now. Buying drinks for everyone is your honor, and you're being ungrateful." "I'm sorry, Lucas. I really didn't mean to." Serena was thirsty. "Please don't misunderstand." Julian stepped in, putting on his aggrieved act. "If you want, I'll kneel and apologize." The crowd realized. Serena used Julian's bottle, and I was jealous. Their gazes shifted from scorn to pity. Serena protected Julian behind her, looking at me with disgust. "I just took a sip of water, and you get this petty?" Thankfully, I didn't accept your pursuit, or there wouldn't be room for even a male mosquito around me. "Lucas, I order you to apologize to Julian immediately, then treat everyone to dinner and publish a public apology on the campus forum. Otherwise, I will never forgive you," Serena stated impatiently, confident I wouldn't dare refuse. Julian quickly added, "No need. Lucas has a right to be angry. It's my fault for being unlovable and annoying." Serena immediately grabbed Julian's hand, her voice softening. "It's enough that I'm by your side." "But Lucas is still angry," Julian whispered. I watched Julian play the innocent victim, the classic manipulator move, and sneered internally. Serena frowned and shouted, "Lucas, apologize to Julian, or I will ignore you forever." I walked up to Julian. He waved his hands, acting as if he couldn't accept an apology, but I saw the corner of his mouth curl up, triumph in his eyes. I raised my hand and slapped him hard across the face. "Apologize? My ass." I've been sick of Julian's act for a long time. In my past life, his heart was venomous. Suicide on my wedding day was purely to make Serena hate me forever. He thought that with Serena's protection, I wouldn't dare touch him. He didn't realize that since I planned to destroy Serena, I certainly didn't care about him. That slap felt incredible. "How could you hit Julian?" Serena paled, rushing to cover Julian's face, heartbroken. She turned to me, furious. "You apologize to Julian right now, or you will never get my forgiveness." The surrounding classmates began to side with Serena, filled with righteous indignation. "How can you hit someone? You peasant. No wonder Serena doesn't like you. Someone like you deserves to be single. Serena is a wealthy heiress. She doesn't stoop to your level. One word from her, and the principal could expel you. This simp is pathetic. If he can't have her, he wants to ruin things. His heart is vicious." They launched a frantic verbal attack. Usually, Serena spent my money to give them benefits. I planned to expose Serena's true face right then. But seeing her float on a cloud of vanity, a plan formed. I thought, let you be happy for a few days. The fall will be harder. In my past life, she destroyed my family. 2 slaps were light work. I wanted to utterly ruin this toxic couple. I wanted to see how Serena would play the heiress without my money. Forget it, Serena said, regaining some reason, especially at the mention of her heiress status. She looked unnatural, afraid I might spill the truth. Feigning magnanimity, she said, Lucas, before things get serious, I hope you can recognize your attitude. Apologize to Julian, and we'll let this pass. She was giving me an out. Before, I would have accepted, apologized, and taken everyone to the best restaurant. But people only remembered Serena's generosity. Never mind. I was reborn. I wouldn't be a sucker again. Lucas, this is your last chance. You'll regret it, Serena said when I didn't answer. She supported Julian as they walked away. The surrounding lackeys sneered at me before leaving. Some even gave me the middle finger. I remained calm. These people were fair-weather friends. Wait until they knew Serena's true identity. Back at the dorm, I got a call from my mom. She sounded hesitant, almost negotiating carefully. Lucas, I feel like Serena's mother works hard. Is a $2,000 monthly salary too low? Should we raise it to $5,000? Hearing my mom's voice, I almost cried. In my past life, my parents died of anger because of me, just because I was love-struck. Serena's mother, Martha, was just a housekeeper, but because of my obsession with her daughter, Martha lived like a queen in our house, bossing my mother around. I had threatened suicide several times for Serena, so my parents accommodated them unconditionally. Last week, Serena mentioned a raise, and I demanded my parents double it to $10,000. After negotiation, it settled at $5,000. I had even gone on a hunger strike for it. Thinking of my past behavior, I wanted to slap myself. Martha didn't even work. She hired 2 other maids to serve her, acting more like the homeowner than my parents. Not this time. You think $5,000 is too little? How about 10? Mom asked nervously when I didn't speak. Not a single cent more. I took a deep breath, my tone firm. If Martha thinks housekeeping is too hard, let her find another job. Our family doesn't raise deadbeats. Silence stretched on the other end, followed by my dad's trembling voice. Lucas, did you and Serena fight? I earnestly explained my new attitude toward Serena. After confirming it repeatedly, my parents sounded relieved, practically cheering through the phone. They had suffered Martha and Serena for too long. If not for me, why would a billionaire couple walk on eggshells around a housekeeper? Now that I wasn't obsessed, they could handle things properly. I hung up as the dorm door opened. Julian walked in. I sneered internally. I'd almost forgotten to deal with this schemer. Julian hummed a tune, saw I was alone, and extended his hand, ordering, "Front me $500 for this month's living expenses. Serena's birthday is coming up. I need to buy a gift." He added, "This isn't for me. It's what Serena ordered." I looked up. His face held no trace of fragility, only arrogance. It was my fault for being such a simp that everyone viewed me as an ATM, but demanding money so openly, I laughed in anger. When we started college, I learned Julian was poor and cut off by his family. Serena told me this and persuaded me to give him a monthly stipend of $500 to accumulate good karma for our relationship. I agreed. Julian treated it like a salary, didn't work, and used my money to date Serena. He claimed he was helping me woo her. I must have been kicked in the head by a donkey to believe that. Hurry up. If you delay Serena's gift, you can't afford the consequences. Julian threatened when I didn't react. Serena isn't totally disappointed in you yet. If I put in a good word, she might let you stay by her side. If you want money, ask your mother. I'm not your daddy, I said with disgust. Julian's eyes went wide. He shrieked, Lucas Sterling, you dare refuse? If Serena finds out, do you know the consequences? None of my business. I couldn't be bothered and left the dorm. Behind me, Julian screamed threats about Serena, teaching me a lesson. As soon as I walked out, Serena called. Lucas, what is the meaning of this? You cut off Julian's money? I told you he has a hard life. You give him $500 a month to do good deeds. Otherwise, karma will get you. Julian is angry. Give him $1,000 now or else. I hung up and muttered, idiot. Serena called a dozen times. I blocked her. The world became quiet. After class, I planned to go home. I owe my parents so much. I wanted to crush that toxic couple and protect my family. But at the school gate, I saw Serena and Julian walking back hand in hand, carrying a pile of luxury goods. I calculated the price. These items must have emptied Serena's savings. This suited my plan for her birthday perfectly. They saw me and stood proudly, not letting go of each other's hands. I cursed the two idiots internally, but I couldn't walk around them. As I passed, Julian's eyes turned red again. It gave me goosebumps. Serena glared at me. Look what you did. You made Julian cry. Transfer me $50,000 right now as an apology. Serena, Lucas must have misunderstood our relationship. Julian bit his lip, walking up to me. I am sorry. I shouldn't affect your feelings. If it helps you vent, hit me or scold me. Serena shouted. He should be the one apologizing. So what if he has some stinking money? Throwing money around will never buy my love. Julian quickly added, Serena, I deserve to be unloved. I should be alone forever. Lucas, slap me if it makes you happy. He turned his back to Serena, showing me a smug, triumphant smile. He was sure that with Serena angry, I wouldn't dare do anything. This time, Julian used the same trick. I smiled. If he wanted abuse, I'd oblige. Before the smugness could leave his face, I slapped him down. Never heard such a request before. No need to thank me. Before Serena could explode, I walked away quickly, afraid I might slap her too. Julian's manipulative act was so nauseating that if I didn't hit him, I'd have nightmares. As for what that toxic couple thought, it was irrelevant to me. In high school, Serena's grades were average. She could only get into a local state college. For the sake of great love, I applied to the same school despite scoring high enough for the Ivy League. My parents nearly died of anger. Over the years, they swallowed so much humiliation from Serena and her mother because they feared I would do something stupid. Going home, I planned to deal with Serena's mother first. From a distance, I heard Martha roaring. I worked my fingers to the bone for this family. What's wrong with a raise? Is $5,000 a month too much? Martha sat on the sofa, pointing at my mother's nose, speaking with sarcasm. You capitalists are so black-hearted. Billions in assets, and you begrudge this little money? Anyway, Lucas won't marry anyone but my daughter. Consider this money a dowry. My parents' faces were ashen, but they dared not argue. In the past, I had used threats of jumping off a building to settle Serena's anger, forcing them to apologize to Martha. Martha looked triumphant. My daughter is a goddess at school. Heirs worth billions are chasing her. Lucas's conditions are worse, but at least there's history. We are making a huge sacrifice. She pointed at my mother. You, go pour me some tea. Consider it an apology. Listening outside, my blood boiled. I rushed in, grabbed the teapot, and poured the water over her head. Who the hell do you think you are? Ordering my mother to pour tea. Martha jumped up, scalded and furious. Lucas, how dare you treat me like this? I'll tell Serena to ignore you for a month. You want to date her? Keep dreaming. I scoffed. Your precious daughter has a boyfriend. They are lovey-dovey right now. She can't be bothered with you. Martha looked surprised, then delighted. Which rich heir is it? I narrow my eyes. A poor kid named Julian Thorne. Martha froze, then shrieked. That won't do. My daughter absolutely cannot marry a pauper. Lucas, don't be angry. I'll go break them up immediately. She rushed out of the house. Watching her leave, hate flashed in my mind. I didn't kick them out immediately because I needed evidence. Over the years, Martha had stolen jewelry worth over $100,000 from my mother. Serena's birthday was coming up. To maintain her heiress persona, she would need to throw a huge party. Without my funding, she would get desperate. The best revenge is total destruction. Is this okay? What if Serena gets angry? Mom looked worried. Should I go apologize? I smiled bitterly. My parents still didn't believe I had given up. I told them my plan. Only then did they realize I had truly changed. They held me, weeping with joy. Our son has grown up, Dad said, tears in his eyes. I took 2 days off to spend with him. Soon, Serena's birthday arrived. Everything was ready. Serena hadn't contacted me for days, spending time with Julian. But how could her birthday party proceed without her ATM? I put on a suit and got into the family Rolls-Royce. To the banquet venue, I told the driver, Young master, aren't we picking up Miss Serena? The driver, Carl, didn't start the car. I glanced at him. What, Miss Serena? Didn't you fight? Look, young master, your temper is too bad. Serena is excellent. It's normal for guys to chase her. You can't hold a grudge. Women love face. Just give her 50 grand. She'll come around. I looked at Carl, knowing his scheme. In my past life, I only learned at my death that Carl was Julian's biological father and Martha's lover. The four of them were in cahoots. Carl was a gambler and a thief. You are a driver hired by my father, not Serena's servant. Don't mention her to me again. A housekeeper's daughter doesn't deserve it. I said expressionlessly. Carl, used to me being a pushover, sneered. Young master, keep an eye on her. Since you upset her, lower your head and apologize. Here, I'll help you. He started the car to go pick her up. Furious, I ordered him to stop or be fired. Carl just chuckled, dragged me out of the car, and drove off. I watched the car disappear. I needed to act fast. Keeping Carl around was dangerous, but I wanted him in prison, not just fired. I took a taxi to the venue. I arrived just as Serena stepped out of my family's Rolls Royce. She wore a snowy white princess dress, radiating pride, acting like the center of the world. People gasped in awe. Serena is so beautiful today. Look at that car. That's the Sterling Group chairman's ride. So many people chase her, especially that simp Lucas. He got angry because he couldn't have her. Pathetic. Serena soaked in the praise. When she saw me, her eyes flashed with disdain, but she walked over. That simp Lucas actually came. He's probably never been to such a high-end restaurant. Serena stood before me, looking down. Lucas, I won't pursue the dance studio incident. Apologize to Julian later, and we'll move on. She thought she was giving me an out. Remember, accepting your material goods doesn't mean I accept your love. To pursue me, you must show sincerity. She walked into the restaurant like a queen. I stood there, unmoved by the crowd's scorn. Serena probably thought I was there to pay the bill, which would be tens of thousands of dollars. She waved her hand, telling everyone to order the most expensive items. Cheers erupted. Seeing the time was right, I turned and left. The wine and food were served. The show was starting. I went home and turned off my phone. The next morning, I had over 100 missed calls. Serena must have had a great night. I stood by the window, breathing the fresh morning air. Life without simping was refreshing. Young master, Carl yelled from the yard. He looked anxious. I smiled. I expected Martha to be the first to come, but Carl arrived first. Julian was too sick, or perhaps too proud, to come. I stayed in the room for a full hour before going downstairs. I never understood it. When Julian found out I was a commuter student living at the Sterling estate, he demanded the same treatment. He insisted on living 10 miles away just so he could be chauffeured in the mornings. In the past, I'd pick him up first, then go to school purely to satisfy his massive vanity. Young master, hurry up. Miss Serena is going to be late. Carl urged, breaking my train of thought. Isn't Serena living in the dorms? I asked, knowing she moved there to keep distance and date Julian. Carl looked awkward. She drank too much last night and stayed at my place. I mean, let's go. If she's mad, you'll suffer. I shook my head. Go to school directly. Carl frowned, lecturing me like an elder. Stop acting out. Everyone knows you love her. Just apologize sincerely. What does it have to do with me? I asked. Carl didn't catch the sarcasm. The birthday party was a mess last night. She's furious. Only you can calm her. I guarantee $100,000 will fix it. I stared at him. Are you deaf? If you feel mistreated here, resign. Carl shut up, terrified of losing his job due to his gambling debts. I arrived at school and went to class. Serena and Julian arrived much later, out of breath. Julian complained immediately. Lucas, why do we have to walk? You made us late. Apologize. I laughed. You don't even have taxi money? Julian flushed. Serena, he's bullying me. Serena glared. Lucas, I admit you won. Give me the money. What? I looked at her. Her designer dress was replaced by plain clothes. She must have pawned everything to pay for last night. Ask your mother. Lucas, don't push it. I've already forgiven you. Do you want to date me or not? A girl's youth is precious. She looked righteous, which was disgusting. You'll come begging sooner or later, she sneered and left. But that night, her mother dragged her to my house to apologize. Martha was groveling. Serena, say something. Lucas, how could a childhood bond be affected by outsiders? I scolded her. She won't see Julian again. I watched Serena. She looked different, colder. He deserves it, she suddenly sneered. Giving Lucas a chance is his honor. If the Sterling family faces trouble, only I can solve it. Lucas is useless. If he's obedient, maybe I'll help him. She spoke with the arrogance of a homeowner. I realized something. My parents were furious. Serena, this isn't your place to speak. Come outside, she ordered me. In the garden, she looked down at me. Lucas, you win. I'm back. If you agree to 3 conditions, I might date or even marry you. 1, give me all your money. 2, transfer half the family assets to me now. 3, if I get bored, I can marry you, but all assets must be in my name. She tilted her head proudly. I walked up to her. She smiled. Good, not stupid. Now kneel to show sincerity. In my past life, her PUA manipulation was absolute. Now, I slapped her to the ground. She screamed. You dare hit me. I kicked her. She wailed. I grabbed her collar. You won't get a cent. Your good days are over. Then I whispered a secret that made her face go pale. I suspected she was reborn too, but her arrogance remained. I didn't reveal my rebirth. I revealed that Carl and her mother were lovers. In her past life, she didn't know this until the end. Her reaction confirmed she had been reborn from a point before she learned that truth. I had plenty of time to destroy her. I knew how deeply Serena loved Julian. In my past life, she wore black for years and killed me for him. That love would drive her crazy. Now that she was reborn, she would want to be with her white moonlight. Martha became strangely diligent, but I knew she was plotting. I learned that for her birthday, Serena sold everything but still fell short, taking out high-interest online loans. Now, the debt collectors were calling. To maintain her persona, she borrowed money from everyone, including our counselor, promising high returns. I laughed. She was digging her own grave. I convinced my parents to go on a trip, leaving the house empty but fully monitored. That night, watching the feed from a cafe, I saw Martha sneaking into my mother's room. She threw a bag of jewelry over the wall where Carl was waiting. A habitual crime. In the past, I covered for them. Not this time. My mother had cataloged every missing item. As soon as the bag went over the wall, I signaled the police waiting outside. Martha and Carl were arrested, screaming my name, expecting me to take the blame. I sat in the cafe, playing games until the charges were filed. My parents returned to give statements. Given the huge value, they were facing heavy prison time. Serena, unaware, had managed to pay off the loan sharks by borrowing from classmates and teachers at high interest, essentially running a Ponzi scheme to keep her heiress reputation. Back at school, Serena was surrounded by sycophants again. Julian stood by her, looking confident. He held a new phone. "Isn't that the new iPhone Pro Max?" "It's impossible to get," someone exclaimed. Julian beamed. "I posted about poor children in the mountains, and Serena just bought this for me as a reward for my empathy." The crowd praised Serena and sneered at me as I walked in. Julian waved the phone in my face. "Lucas can't afford this. Want to touch it?" "Poor guy," the crowd mocked. I pointed at the phone. "That phone is mine." The class erupted in laughter. Julian clutched his stomach. "Lucas, are you delusional?" I recognized the custom engraving on the case. It was a gift from my dad I had left in a drawer. Martha must have stolen it. "Good news," a classmate shouted. "The Sterling Group is donating a new library." Everyone looked at Serena, the Sterling heiress. She looked terrified. "Serena, your dad is coming for the ribbon cutting." "No need to go," she stammered. "I saw him this morning." Julian whispered to me, "Lucas, Serena is taking the pressure for you. You should be grateful." I saw Julian slip something into his bag. Suddenly, he shrieked, "My watch is lost. The Rolex Serena gave me." He searched and naturally found a blue watch in my bag. "Lucas, how could you steal?" Julian cried. "If you wanted it, I would have given it to you." "Don't blame him. Don't call the police." The classmates defended Julian, attacking me. Serena looked at Julian approvingly. "Fine, let's call the police," I said, pulling out my phone. Julian froze. Serena panicked. "No police." "Since I'm accused, let the police decide." I dialed. Serena pulled me aside. "Lucas, tell the police it was a misunderstanding. If you do, I'll let you buy me things again." You still the hair." "Why? If you agree, I'll accept your money." She was unbelievably arrogant. "Idiot." The police arrived. Serena tried to signal me. I smiled and pointed at Julian. He stole my phone and watch. I had the receipts and purchase times for both. At first, everyone thought I was lying. How could a simp afford this? But the receipts were undeniable. Serena looked panicked, pleading with her eyes. She needed me to claim it was a misunderstanding to keep her persona alive. But I've been waiting for this. The value of items Martha and Carl stole was huge. The items in my drawer alone were worth thousands. I kept the receipts for this exact moment. Julian had trapped himself. He had the stolen phone. The police took Julian and Serena away for questioning. Before they left, I whispered to Julian, "If you blame Serena, you're just receiving stolen goods, not stealing." I saw the vicious glint in his eye. He would betray her. The class turned on me, blaming me for ruining Serena. I ignored them. Suddenly, our homeroom teacher, Mr. King, stormed in. He was a balding man who had sucked up to Serena for years, hoping her father would promote him. He had even lent Serena $30,000 of his savings. "Lucas, why call the police over a small matter? Go drop the case," he yelled. "Serena is the Sterling heiress. She wouldn't steal." He dragged me to the principal's office. "Principal, Mr. King shouted. "This student Lucas framed Serena. He must be expelled. Serena's father will be furious." He then saw my father sitting with the principal. "You must be Serena's father. Your daughter is excellent." My dad and the principal exchanged looks. Mr. King slapped the back of my head. "Apologize to the chairman." My dad caught me. "What does this mean?" he asked coldly. "I don't know Serena. I only have one son, Lucas Sterling." Mr. King's jaw dropped. Terror filled his eyes. "It seems my donation was a mistake if my son is bullied like this," Dad said. Mr. King trembled, looking at the principal. Misunderstanding. The principal was furious. Mr. King, you seem to dislike Lucas. Perhaps you need a transfer. Mr. King looked at me, pleading. He realized his investment in Serena was gone. I smiled. Mr. King is very responsible. I'm sure he'll clear this up. Outside, I patted his shoulder. Mr. King, Serena is my housekeeper's daughter. She's a fraud. I heard she borrowed a lot of money. Mr. King's face went gray. His life savings were gone. His revenge would be swift. Julian stayed in custody. Serena was released because Julian claimed he found the items, but the suspicion lingered. The real blow came from the campus forum. Mr. King, trying to save his money, posted an expose. 3 questions for Serena Vance. He revealed her debt and lack of background. The school exploded. Students realized they had been scammed. The heiress was a fake. The debts were massive, over $200,000 from students and teachers alone. Serena was surrounded by angry creditors on campus. Someone threw filth on her. She was ruined. The school didn't expel her, which was better. She had to live in that hell every day. Serena's reputation was destroyed. Her dorm mates poured dirty water on her bed. She was chased by creditors daily. I heard she tried to enter my house, screaming it was her home, but the security guards threw her out. I took time off, went on trips with my family, and lived peacefully. My parents tried to set me up with a friend's daughter, a nice girl who studied abroad. I refused, still scarred by love. My mom had been so desperate during my obsession with Serena that she visited a spiritual medium, convinced I was under a curse. She pinned her hopes on the divine. Later, when I truly gave up on Serena, Mom went back to fulfill her vow, donating $2 million to the medium's charity. Half a month later, Serena stopped me on a campus path. She looked ragged, no longer the princess. Stop. She grabbed my arm. Did you set up my mother? I didn't answer. You did this to get me, didn't you? You win, she hissed. I'll be your girlfriend. We can get married. I was stunned by her delusion. But you must meet my conditions. Transfer the assets, get my mom out of jail, apologize on your knees, and buy a villa for Julian. If we marry, Julian lives with us. Are you done? You still the hair. She was insane. You think I still want you? Come on, kiss me. You've always wanted to. She closed her eyes, looking like a martyr. I leaned in and whispered, Serena, for what you did in the past life, I want to tear you to pieces. She trembled, eyes flying open. You are also. I walked away. Her fantasy was shattered. She knew now that I knew everything. I focused on my studies. I visited Julian in jail. He was depressed and suicidal again. He thought Serena would save him, but she had abandoned him. She's living it up outside. I lied to him. She abandoned you because you're a convict. Julian screamed in rage. I told him I'd help him get out if he dropped the innocent victim act and sought justice. I dropped the charges. Julian was released. I wanted them to tear each other apart. The next day, news broke. A couple jumped from the library roof. Julian had found Serena. She was already mentally collapsing from the debt and my rejection. Seeing Julian, the source of her misery, she snapped. Julian, manic and vengeful, dragged her to the roof. They died together, locked tight just as I wished. The school hushed it up. The creditors were angry, but moved on. Winter break arrived. I went home. A beautiful girl sat on the sofa with my mother. She smiled at me, sweet and genuine. For the first time in 2 lifetimes, my heart skipped a beat. Emily. I smiled back. Story complete.